Hello everyone, welcome back to my English Learning Real Life English channel and English Improving Daily Life.
Welcome to Knowledge Walla.
Close your eyes for a second, just for 1 second. Now, think about a moment. Any moment in your life where you wanted to speak English. Maybe it was in a job interview. Maybe it was at a college seminar. Maybe it was with a foreign tourist who asked you for directions. Maybe it was something as simple as ordering at a restaurant that had an English-speaking waiter. You knew what you wanted to say. The words were somewhere inside your head. But when you opened your mouth, nothing came out. Or maybe something did come out, but it wasn't what you planned. And afterwards, you felt that horrible, sinking feeling of, why couldn't I just say it? I know English. I've studied it for years. So why did I freeze? If you've ever felt that, open your eyes, because this podcast was made for you.
Hey everyone! Oh my goodness, if that intro didn't give you chills, check if you're actually alive. I'm Ilara and I am so happy you're here today. Like genuinely happy. Because 3 years ago, I was exactly the person Ethan just describes. I understood English perfectly. I had good marks in English class. I'd read Harry Potter in English. But the moment someone said, Ilara, say something in English, I would go bright red and make an excuse. So trust me when I say I get it. I really get it.
And I'm Ethan. I've been teaching English speaking and communication for over 8 years now. I've worked with students, professionals, job seekers, homemakers, engineers, doctors, people from all walks of life across India. And in all these years, you know what the number one thing I've noticed is? It's never about knowledge. It's always about fear. That's what we're fixing, starting right now, together.
Welcome to the Speak English Without Fear podcast, day 1 of 30. Your journey starts right here, right now.
Okay, let's start with the most important question of this entire 30-day journey. And it's a question that most English courses never even bother to ask. Why are people afraid to speak English? Not how do I learn grammar, not what is the right tense to use. Those questions come later. The first question, the foundation question, is why are we afraid? Because think about it. You've been studying English since class 1 or class 2. Some of you, that's 15, 16, even 18 years of English education. You've passed English in your board exams. Some of you have scored 90 plus in English papers. You watch English movies, English YouTube videos. You read English, menus, signboards, WhatsApp messages all day, every day. So the information is not the problem. The knowledge is not the problem. Something else is happening. And today we're going to figure out exactly what that is.
This is so real, Ethan. I remember when I was in class 12, I was actually quite good at written English. My essays were good, my grammar was decent, but there was this one English debate competition at our school, and I was selected to participate. I had prepared. I had written my entire speech, memorized it, practiced it in front of the mirror at home. I was ready. And then I stood up on that stage. I looked at the audience and I just forgot everything. Not some things, everything. My mind went completely, totally blank. I stood there for what felt like 10 hours. It was probably 30 seconds. And then I sat back down without saying a single word. I cried in the bathroom after. I was so embarrassed. And for months after that, I refused to speak English in front of anyone.
Genuinely, thank you for sharing that. Genuinely, because I know that's not easy to talk about. And I want everyone listening right now to know that what happened to Ilara on that stage has happened to almost every person who has ever tried to speak a language that doesn't feel native to them. It has happened to me. It has happened to my students. It has happened to people you consider fluent speakers today. The difference is they kept going, and we're going to talk about how to keep going. But first, let me explain why that happened to Ilara. Why does the mind go blank? Why does the body freeze? Why does all that preparation suddenly disappear the moment we're in front of people?
Yes, please, because for years I thought something was wrong with me. Like, I thought that I was the only person whose brain just switched off like that.
Nothing was wrong with you, Ilara. Nothing. What happened to you was completely normal, and it has a name. It's called language anxiety, and it's one of the most common psychological experiences in the world. Research by psychologists Stephen Krashen and Rebecca Oxford, both experts in language learning, found that anxiety is the single biggest barrier to language acquisition. Not intelligence, not effort, not time. Anxiety. When we feel judged, when we feel we might make a fool of ourselves, our brain sends a very powerful signal. And that signal says, danger, protect yourself, shut down, don't risk it. And our brain listens. It shuts down the language production center. The words that were stored safely in your memory, they suddenly feel unreachable, like a file that's locked on your computer. You know it's there, you just can't access it. That's what happened on that stage, Ilara. Your brain wasn't failing you, your brain was protecting you. It just didn't know that speaking English is not actually dangerous.
Wow, so it's like my brain thought speaking English in front of people was the same as being chased by a lion?
Honestly, yes, that's exactly the analogy. To your anxious brain, the threat of social embarrassment feels the same as a physical threat. Your heart rate goes up, your palms sweat, your throat tightens, your memory shuts down. All the classic fight or flight responses. But here's the most important thing I want you to understand today. The amygdala is trainable. When you repeatedly do something that initially felt threatening and nothing bad happens, your amygdala learns. It updates. It says, oh wait, this is not actually dangerous. I can stand down. This is why people who speak English every day, even imperfectly, gradually feel less and less fear. Not because they become perfect, but because their brain has learned speaking English in front of people equals safe. Every time you push yourself to speak, even for 10 seconds, you are literally retraining your amygdala. You are teaching your brain that this is okay, this is safe, this is survivable.
Key concept: language anxiety. What is language anxiety? It is a specific type of anxiety linked to learning and using a new language in front of others. It's extremely common, especially among Indian learners. Symptoms: mind going blank, heart racing, forgetting what you prepared, speaking too fast or too slowly, avoiding English situations altogether. Root cause: fear of negative judgment from others, fear of sounding uneducated or silly. Good news: language anxiety is 100% manageable with the right mindset training and consistent practice. It does not mean you cannot learn, it means you haven't yet learned to feel safe while learning. So, Ethan, for our listeners who are right now nodding along and thinking, yes, this is exactly me, what's the very first thing they should understand about overcoming this fear?
The very first thing, and this is the most important sentence I will say in this entire episode, so please write this down, is this. The fear of speaking English is not about English. It's about the fear of being judged. Do you notice that? It's not that you can't form English sentences. It's not that you don't know vocabulary. It's that you're terrified of what people will think of you when you do. And here's the really uncomfortable truth. The people you're afraid of judging you, most of them can't speak English confidently either. They're in the same boat. They're watching you, nervous, hoping you don't notice that they're nervous too. The whole room is scared. The person who speaks first, imperfectly, bravely, is the one who grows the fastest. The person who speaks imperfectly and bravely will always outgrow the person who waits for perfection before speaking.
That's such a powerful point. And I think for a lot of our listeners, especially students, there's also this added pressure of being surrounded by people who might mock them for making mistakes. Like in school or college, if you say something wrong in English, sometimes people laugh. And that experience, being laughed at, stays with you for years.
Absolutely. And that is a real experience. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. Some people have had genuinely painful experiences around speaking English, being mocked, being corrected harshly, being made to feel stupid. If that's happened to you, first, I want to say, I'm sorry that happened. You deserved encouragement, not ridicule. Every person who is learning deserves respect. But I also want to say this. The people who mock others for imperfect English are not speaking from a position of strength. They're speaking from their own insecurity. A truly confident person doesn't mock beginners because they remember being a beginner themselves. And the best revenge, if we want to call it that, is to become so confident, so fluent, so articulate in English that those people have nothing left to say. Smiles.
Okay, I love that. The best revenge is fluency. I'm putting that on a poster.
Please do. Print it, frame it, put it above your study desk, and then come back and tell us on day 30 that you proved everyone wrong. Deal? Okay, let's go a bit deeper now. I want to explain something that I think will genuinely change how you see your own struggles. And this is going to involve a tiny bit of brain science, but don't worry, I promise I'll keep it simple and interesting. So inside your brain, there is a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Say it with me. Amygdala. The amygdala is your brain's alarm system. Its entire job is to detect threats and trigger a fear response. Now, in the ancient world, when humans were living in caves, the amygdala was incredibly useful. It detected lions, it detected falling trees, it detected other dangerous humans, and it would immediately trigger the fight or flight response to help you survive.
Okay, so the amygdala is basically the original security guard of the brain.
Exactly, the original security guard, and it's very, very good at its job. The problem is, your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a physical threat and a social threat. So when you stand up to speak English in front of people, your amygdala sees the crowd looking at you, detects the risk of judgment, and says, "Threat detected, activate protection." And then boom, heart racing, throat dry, mind blank, all the physical responses of fear kick in. Your amygdala is trying to protect you from a lion, but the lion is just a classroom full of students, or a job interviewer, or your relatives at a family gathering.
My relatives are kind of like lions, though, Ethan. Just saying.
Okay, fair point. Relatives, we'll give those a separate category. But for everyone else, offices, college, daily life, no lions, I promise. Now, here's the really important part, and this is what gives me hope and what should give you hope too. The amygdala is trainable. When you repeatedly do something that initially felt threatening and nothing bad happens, your amygdala learns, it updates. It says, oh wait, this is not actually dangerous. I can stand down. This is why people who speak English every day, even imperfectly, gradually feel less and less fear. Not because they become perfect, but because their brain has learned speaking English in front of people equals safe. Every time you push yourself to speak, even for 10 seconds, you are literally retraining your amygdala. You are teaching your brain that this is okay, this is safe, this is survivable.
Brain science recap. Amygdala equals your brain's security alarm. Triggers fear when it detects any threat, real or social. The problem? It cannot distinguish between being chased by a lion and speaking English in front of people. Both trigger the same alarm. The solution? Repeated, safe exposure. Every time you speak English and survive, which is every time because nobody dies from imperfect grammar, your amygdala learns it's safe. The formula? Speak, survive, brain updates, fear reduces. Speak again, fear reduces more. Repeat 30 days, transformation. So basically, the more we practice speaking, even badly, even nervously, the more our brain relaxes about it?
Perfectly put. You know how when you were a child, maybe you were scared of the dark, and then your parents showed you night after night that the dark is safe. Nothing was in the wardrobe. The monster under the bed was just your socks, and slowly the fear of darkness disappeared. Speaking English is exactly the same process. You need to show your brain again and again that speaking English is safe. And the only way to show your brain that is to speak English again and again, even imperfectly. especially imperfectly.
You know, this reminds me of something. When I started learning to drive, I was terrified on the road. My first few weeks, I was gripping the steering wheel so tightly, I think I left permanent dents. I was going 20 kilometers per hour on an empty road. Every car that passed me felt like an emergency. But after 2 months of daily driving, I was just driving. Normal speed, one hand on the wheel, talking on Bluetooth, well, legally, with headphones. The fear didn't go away because I became a perfect driver. It went away because I drove so many times that my brain stopped treating it as a crisis.
That is a perfect analogy, Alara. Perfect. And notice what you said. The fear didn't go away because you became perfect. It went away because your brain stopped treating it as a crisis. That is what we're doing for 30 days with English. We're giving your brain enough practice, enough successful experiences, enough evidence that speaking English is not a crisis. It's just talking in a different language. That's all it is.
I genuinely love that framing. It's just talking in a different language. That's it.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And one more thing before we move on. I want to address something that a lot of people feel but nobody talks about out loud. Many people feel ashamed that they can't speak English fluently. They feel like it means they're not smart enough, not educated enough, not good enough. I want to dismantle that idea completely right now. Intelligence and English fluency are not the same thing. Some of the most brilliant minds in India, scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, philosophers, were not native English speakers. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was not a native English speaker. He had an accent. He made grammatical errors sometimes. But the ideas he expressed, the wisdom, the vision, the heart, they were extraordinary. Language is a tool. Your worth as a human being is not measured by how fluently you use that tool. But learning to use it well, that opens doors. And that's why we're here.
Ethan, I want to move to something that I think is the heart of today's episode. We talked about why we're afraid. We talked about the science. But now, what do we do about it? Like, practically, how do we move forward even when we're scared?
Yes, this is where we get practical. And the most important practical shift we need to make is in how we see mistakes. Let me ask you something. When a baby is learning to walk, what happens the first time they try to stand up?
They fall down immediately. Every baby falls.
They fall. And what does the parent do?
They encourage them. They clap. They say, "Come on, try again. You can do it." They don't say, "Oh no, you fell. You're a bad walker. Clearly, you're not built for walking. Give up."
Exactly. Nobody says that to a baby. Nobody decides a baby is a failed walker because they fell down on their first attempt. The falling is the learning. The falling is necessary. Without the falling, the baby's brain cannot figure out what balance feels like. Your English mistakes are exactly like a baby falling while learning to walk. They are not signs of failure. They are signs that you are actively, bravely learning. The difference between people who become fluent and people who don't is not talent. It's not intelligence. It is simply this. The people who become fluent are willing to fall down in public and get back up immediately.
Okay, I have to share something personal here, because this exact mindset shift is what changed everything for me. So I told you earlier that after the debate competition disaster, I refused to speak English for months. But then I joined a spoken English class, and on day one, my teacher said something that completely broke my brain in the best way. She said, "In this class, the student who makes the most mistakes gets a gold star, because that student is trying the hardest." I didn't believe her at first, but she meant it. And slowly, when I stopped trying to be perfect and started just trying to communicate, everything changed. My English didn't suddenly become perfect, but it started flowing. And flowing imperfectly is 1,000,000 times better than being stuck perfectly silent.
Your teacher was brilliant, and she was right. Let me give you 3 real-life examples of famous people who made very public English mistakes, and it didn't stop them from achieving extraordinary things. Example 1. Amitabh Bachchan, one of the most celebrated actors in the world. His English is not BBC perfect. He has an accent. He made grammatical errors in interviews. Has anyone stopped respecting him? Absolutely not. Why? Because the power of what he says, the confidence he carries, that is what people remember. Example 2. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, a man with a strong Tamil accent in his English, has been talking to global audiences for decades. Has he ever apologized for his accent? No. Has the world respected him less? Absolutely not. In fact, his authenticity, the fact that he is completely himself, makes him more relatable and more respected. And example 3, Narendra Modi. Whether you agree with his politics or not, he addresses global leaders, international conferences, foreign media. His English is not without an accent. His pronunciation is sometimes different, and yet he communicates, he connects, he gets his message across, and the world listens.
The 3 truths about English mistakes. Truth 1. Every mistake you make is a permanent lesson. When someone corrects your English, or when you catch your own error, your brain stores that correction with special emphasis. You're far less likely to make that same mistake again than a mistake you never made at all. Truth 2. Nobody remembers your mistake as long as you do. You'll remember your embarrassing English moment for weeks. The people who heard it, they forgot it in 5 minutes. Your brain magnifies your own errors far beyond what anyone else notices. Truth 3. Making mistakes in English is proof that you are using English. Silent people make 0 mistakes. They also make 0 progress. The speakers, the imperfect, brave speakers, they're the ones who grow.
Number 2, so much. Because I've spent years cringing over English mistakes that I'm now sure nobody even remembers. Like, I spent 6 months embarrassed about saying I am very exciting at a party. And I'd bet everything that nobody at that party even remembers I was there, let alone what I said.
Almost certainly true. And this is actually a well-studied psychological phenomenon called the spotlight effect. Researchers at Cornell University found that we consistently overestimate how much other people notice our mistakes, our appearance, our awkward moments.
In one famous study, they asked people to wear an embarrassing t-shirt to a room full of strangers and then guess what percentage of people noticed it. The wearers guessed around 50%. The actual number? Barely 25%. We think the spotlight is on us far more than it actually is. The truth is, everyone in the room is too busy being the main character of their own story to be the audience of yours.
Okay, that study just healed something inside me. No, genuinely, that's one of the most comforting things I've ever heard. Everyone's too busy being the main character of their own story.
Let it heal you and let it free you. Because if the spotlight isn't even on you, why are you hiding from it? Step into the light, make your mistakes, say your wrong tenses, mispronounce a word, and then just keep going, because nobody's keeping score except you. From today, I want you to adopt a new daily mantra. Say it right now, out loud, wherever you are. Slowly, clearly. My mistakes are my teachers. My imperfection is my practice. My voice is my power.
My mistakes are my teachers. My imperfection is my practice. My voice is my power. Say that again, everyone. Please say it one more time, out loud. Don't be shy. You're learning English. Being shy is the enemy.
Okay, Ethan, I want to address something that I hear all the time from our listeners, from friends, from people online. The phrase, "Meri English toot foote." My English is broken. Or they say, I speak Hinglish, not real English. Or the most painful one, "Mujhe English aati nahi." I don't know English at all. This broken English idea, where does it come from and why is it so harmful?
Such an important thing to address. Let me start with a very simple question. Who decided what proper English looks like? For a long time, and this goes back to British colonialism, the idea was that correct English was the Queen's English, BBC English, received pronunciation, they called it. This specific accent, specific vocabulary, specific rhythm, that was proper English. Everything else was somehow lesser.
And that colonial mindset got deeply embedded into Indian education systems, into Indian workplaces, into Indian society. We started measuring our English against an external, artificial standard that was never really ours to begin with. But here's the reality of English in 2025 and beyond. There is no single correct version of English.
Right, like American English and British English are already so different. Americans say elevator, British people say lift. Americans say cookie, British people say biscuit. Are either of them speaking broken English?
Not at all. And it goes even further than that. Australian English, Singaporean English, Nigerian English, South African English, all of these are legitimate, vibrant, valid versions of English. Each of them have their own vocabulary, their own expressions, their own rhythms. And then there is Indian English, which is one of the richest, most expressive, most widely spoken versions of English on the planet. Did you know that India has more English speakers than any other country except the United States? Over 125 million Indians communicate in English regularly. That's more English speakers than the entire population of the United Kingdom. We are not learning English. We are a part of the English-speaking world.
Facts about Indian English. India has the second largest English-speaking population in the world, over 125 million speakers. Indian English has contributed unique words to global English: prepone, eve-teasing, stepney, out of station, do the needful, revert back, lach, crore. Prepone, a word invented in India meaning to move something to an earlier time, is now used internationally and is in several English dictionaries. Indian authors writing in English, Arundhati Roy, Salman Rushdie, R.K. Narayan, have won some of the world's most prestigious literary awards. The global tech industry runs significantly on Indian English. Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Indra Nooyi, Indian English speakers leading the world.
That's incredible. So when we say my English is broken, we're actually insulting a huge part of who we are and where we come from.
In a way, yes. Now, to be clear, there's a difference between Indian English is valid and I never need to improve. We absolutely want to improve. We want to be clear, we want to be effective, we want to reduce errors that create confusion. That's the whole point of this 30-day journey.
But improvement should come from a place of growth, not shame. You don't learn better by believing you're broken. You learn better by believing you have a solid foundation and you're building on it. Think of it this way. A house under construction is not a broken house. It is a house being built. Your English is not broken. It's under construction. And we are the construction team, here to help you build it stronger every single day.
I love that metaphor so much. Under construction, not broken. And you know what else? Even fluent English speakers are always under construction. Even native speakers learn new words, adjust their communication style, improve over time. There is no finished state in language learning. It's a lifelong journey for everyone.
Perfectly said. Language is alive. It grows with you. So from today, can we all agree to retire the phrase, "My English is broken"? Can we replace it with something new? Instead of "My English is broken," we say, "My English is growing stronger every day." Instead of "I can't speak English properly," we say, "I am actively working on my English speaking skills." Instead of "My English is very poor," we say, "My English is a work in progress and I am proud of my progress." The words we use about ourselves become our identity. Choose your words intentionally.
Your English is not broken. It is under construction, and every word you speak today is a brick in the wall of your future fluency.
All right, we've laid an enormous amount of foundation today. Mindset, science, myth-busting, all of it. But now I want to get extremely practical because I know some of you are listening and thinking, okay, Ethan, this all sounds great, but what do I actually do tomorrow morning? How do I start? So I'm going to give you exactly 5 daily habits. These are not complicated. They don't require apps, courses, expensive books, or hours of free time. They require 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there. Small actions done consistently produce enormous results. Let's go through them one by one, and I'll explain not just what to do, but why it works.
Habit 1. The Morning Mirror Minute, 1 minute daily. What to do? Every morning before you pick up your phone, before you look at any social media, walk to the nearest mirror, look yourself in the eye, and say these words out loud. I am learning English every day. I am getting better. I am brave enough to speak and smart enough to learn. Today, I will use my English. Why it works? This is called a positive affirmation, and it's backed by real neuroscience. When you repeat a statement about yourself consistently, your brain begins to align its behavior with that statement. It's called self-affirmation theory, developed by psychologist Claude Steele. You are literally programming your own mindset.
Sounds silly? Good. That uncomfortable feeling is exactly how you know it's working. Your old mindset is resisting the new one. Push through it. 30 days. Just try it. I started doing mirror affirmations 2 years ago, and I genuinely felt ridiculous for the first week. I felt like I was acting in a cheesy movie. But then, around day 10, I noticed that I was actually starting to believe what I was saying. It wasn't acting anymore. It was just true, isn't it?
That's exactly what happens. The brain doesn't distinguish very well between rehearsal and reality. When you say something enough times with genuine emotion, the brain starts to treat it as fact. That's the power of consistent affirmation. Okay, habit 2, the 1-sentence rule, 2 minutes daily. What to do? Every day, learn one new English sentence. Just one. It can come from this podcast, from a movie, from a song, from a conversation, anywhere. And then use that sentence at least once during the day, in a WhatsApp message, in a conversation, out loud to yourself. Just use it once. Why it works? Language acquisition research shows that active use of new language, not just passive exposure, is what creates fluency. The moment you use a sentence in a real context, it moves from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. 1 sentence a day equals 30 new sentences a month equals 365 new sentences a year. Compounding is real. Today's 1 sentence: I am working on improving my English and I am making real progress. Use the sentence today. Tell a friend, write it, say it to yourself.
Habit 3. The 5-minute English self-talk walk. 5 minutes daily. What to do? Every day, during a walk, during your commute, while making chai, while washing dishes, narrate your life in English. Talk to yourself. Out loud if possible, silently if needed. Describe what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're thinking. I'm walking down the street. The weather is quite nice today. I need to remember to call my friend later. I'm feeling a bit tired but also excited about this English journey. Why it works. This practice, called private speech, is used by children learning their first language. When we narrate our actions in a language, we build direct connections between words in real-world experience. This is what thinking in English actually means, and it's the fastest way to get there. Bonus: no audience means no fear. This is the perfect low-pressure environment to practice and build vocabulary without any anxiety.
Habit 4. The Mistake Diary. 3 minutes weekly. What to do? Keep a small notebook, physical or in your phone notes app, called My Mistake Diary. Whenever someone corrects your English or when you notice your own error, write it down. Format. Wrong. She is knowing him. Right. She knows him. Review your mistake diary every Sunday. Why it works. Mistakes you write down and reflect on are mistakes you will rarely make again. Instead of trying to forget your errors out of embarrassment, you're converting them into a personalized study guide. Your mistake diary will be worth more than any grammar textbook because every entry is directly connected to your specific learning gaps. Mindset shift. Love your mistake diary. It's proof that you're actively using English and actively growing. A full diary equals a lot of growth.
Habit 5. The 3-second courage count. When fear hits. What to do? When you feel the fear rising, when you want to speak English but something inside holds you back, count 3, 2, 1, and then start speaking. The moment you reach 0, open your mouth, say the first word, anything. The rest will follow. Why it works. Motivation speaker Mel Robbins developed the 5-second rule. We're using 3 seconds, a slightly shorter version, based on the idea that the brain will always find a reason to delay action if given more than a few seconds to overthink. By counting down and physically starting before the brain can object, you bypass the overthinking circuit entirely. The secret about the first 3 words. The fear is always loudest in the 3 seconds before you speak. Once you say the first 3 words, well, I think, or actually I believe, or even just, the momentum carries you forward. The engine starts. The fear drops by 60 to 70% every time, without fail. Okay, I need to pause on habit 5 because this is the one that changed my life. Genuinely, the 3-second count. There's something about counting down that tricks your brain into action. It's like when you're about to jump into a cold pool. If you stand at the edge and think about it, you'll never jump. But if someone says 3, 2, 1, go, your body just goes. Before the brain can say, actually, wait, is this a good idea? I use this literally every day. Every time I need to start speaking in a new group or pick up a call from an unknown number or ask a question in a meeting. 3, 2, 1, and I just open my mouth. Whatever comes out, comes out. And it's always, always better than staying silent.
Okay, Ilara is living proof that this works. And I want to reassure everyone, you don't need to do all 5 habits on day 1. Start with 1, just 1. The one that resonates most with you right now. Master that for a week, then add another. You don't build a palace in a day. You lay 1 brick perfectly, then another, then another.
Every single episode of this podcast ends with a set of practical English sentences that you can use immediately in real life, today, right now. These sentences are not random. Each one is carefully chosen to match the theme of the day. Today's theme is confidence and self-belief. These are sentences that help you talk about yourself, your journey, and your feelings with confidence. Ilara is going to read each sentence clearly and slowly, and I want you to repeat every single one out loud. Do not just listen, speak. That's the whole point. And for each sentence, we've added the Hindi meaning and a usage example, so you know exactly when and how to use it.
Okay, everyone, are you ready? Sit up straight, take a deep breath, and repeat after me. Nice and loud. The neighbors might look at you funny, but that's okay. You're learning English. Wink.
Today's 10 confidence power sentences. Repeat out loud after Ilara. 01. I am learning English every single day, and I am getting better. मैं हर रोज English सीख रहा हूँ या रही हूँ, और मैं बेहतर हो रहा हूँ या रही हूँ. Use this every morning in front of the mirror as your daily affirmation. 02. It is completely okay to make mistakes. Mistakes help me grow faster. गलतियाँ करना बिल्कुल ठीक है. गलतियाँ मुझे तेजी से बेहतर बनाती हैं. Use this every time you feel embarrassed after a mistake. Say it to yourself. 03. I will speak English today, even if it is not perfect. मैं आज English बोलूँगा या बोलूँगी, चाहे perfect ना हो. Use this every morning as a commitment to yourself. 04. My English is improving every single time I open my mouth and speak. मेरी इंग्लिश हर बार बेहतर होती है जब मैं बोलना शुरू करता हूँ या करती हूँ. Use this after a conversation, even a short one. Remind yourself of your progress. 05. I am not afraid to speak English anymore. I am brave enough to try. मुझे अब इंग्लिश बोलने से डर नहीं लगता. मुझ में कोशिश करने की हिम्मत है. Use this right before a situation that feels scary, an interview, a presentation, a call. 06. I understand English well. Now I am building my speaking confidence step by step. मैं इंग्लिश अच्छी तरह समझता हूँ या समझती हूँ. अब मैं एक-एक कदम में speaking confidence बना रहा हूँ या बना रही हूँ. Use this when someone asks about your English level. Be honest and proud. 07. I do not need to be perfect. I just need to be clear and consistent. मुझे perfect होने की ज़रूरत नहीं. मुझे सिर्फ clear और consistent रहना है. Use this whenever perfectionism is holding you back from speaking. 08. Every English speaker you admire was once a beginner who felt exactly like me. हर वो English speaker जिसे तुम admire करते हो, वो भी कभी एक beginner था या थी जो बिल्कुल मेरी तरह feel करता था या करती थी. Use this when you compare yourself to fluent speakers and feel discouraged. 09. My accent is a part of my identity. I speak with confidence and clarity. मेरा accent मेरी identity का हिस्सा है. मैं confidence और clarity से बोलता हूँ या बोलती हूँ. Use this whenever you feel self-conscious about your accent. Own it. 010. This is day 1. By day 30, I will be a confident, fluent English speaker. I commit to this journey. आज day 1 है. Day 30 तक मैं एक confident, fluent English speaker बनूंगा या बनूंगी. मैं इस सफर के लिए committed हूँ. Did you say all 10 out loud? For real? If you did, I want you to know that you just did something powerful. You spoke 10 English sentences. Maybe they felt awkward. Maybe some words were hard to pronounce. Maybe you stumbled. It doesn't matter. You spoke. And speaking, however imperfectly, is the only road to fluency. There are no shortcuts, but you just took your first steps. Challenge: say these 10 sentences every morning for the next 7 days. That's it. Just these 10 sentences. 2 minutes of your morning. And on day 7, come back and tell us in the comments how you feel. Okay, we are approaching the end of day 1, and I genuinely cannot believe how much we've covered. My brain is full in the best possible way. Before we give you the practice activity, can we just do a super quick recap? Because I want everyone to walk away from today with the 5 big takeaways crystal clear in their mind. Day 1, your 5 big takeaways. 1. Fear of speaking English is not about English. It's about fear of judgment, and that fear is trainable. Your amygdala can learn that speaking English is safe. 2. Mistakes are not failure. They are the most efficient form of learning. The spotlight effect proves nobody watches your mistakes as closely as you do. Make mistakes proudly. 3. There is no broken English. Your English is under construction, not broken. Indian English is valid, vibrant, and globally significant. 5. 5 daily habits to rewire your mindset. Mirror affirmation, 1-sentence rule, self-talk walk, mistake diary, 3-second courage count. Start one today. 5. Speaking is the only path to speaking fluency. Not reading, not watching, not thinking. Speaking out loud, imperfectly, bravely, every day. Perfect recap, Alara. Now your day 1 practice activity. Day 1, my voice, my day, my English. Here is exactly what you're going to do. Right now, today, before you sleep. Pick up your phone. Open the voice recorder. It's on every phone. If you can't find it, use WhatsApp voice note to yourself. Take 1 slow, deep breath. Feel your feet on the floor. You're safe. Nobody's judging you. Press record. Say your name in English, then say 5 sentences about your day. Any 5. They can be as simple as, my name is name. Today I woke up at time. I had food for breakfast. In the evening, I watched this podcast. I am excited to improve my English. Or go further. Talk about your feelings, your dreams, what you're scared of, what you hope for. Use whatever English you have right now. All of it, exactly as it is. Stop recording. Do not delete it. Do not re-record it. The first take is the most honest. Save it. Name the file day1/yourname. Listen back once. Notice your voice. Notice your English. Don't judge, just notice. This is your starting point, and starting points are beautiful because they mean you began. On day 30, you will record the same thing, and you will hear the transformation with your own ears. That moment will be one of the proudest moments of your English journey. Trust the process. Bonus, share your recording in the comments section below. Write day1done/yourname from your city. We read every single comment, every single one, and we will respond with encouragement. This community is your safety net. Use it. I'm going to be completely honest. When I did my version of this exercise for the very first time 3 years ago, I recorded myself, listened back, and cried a little. Not because it was terrible, but because I realized this is actually me. This is my real voice in English. It exists. There's something incredibly moving about hearing yourself speak in a language you've been afraid of for so long. It's like meeting a version of yourself you'd been hiding. Do the activity. Keep the file. Trust us. Before we wrap up day 1, I want to say something personal. I've been teaching English for over 8 years. I've seen hundreds of students transform. Students who started exactly where you are right now, terrified, doubting themselves, convinced that fluency was for other people, but not for them. And every single one of them, every single one who showed up consistently, who made mistakes bravely, who kept going even when it felt slow, they got there, without exception. You are not an exception to this pattern. You will improve. You will find your fluency. You will speak English with confidence, not because of talent, but because you showed up today, and because you're going to show up tomorrow and the day after, and for 30 days. I believe in you, not as a formality, not as a motivational catchphrase. I genuinely, truly believe in your ability to grow. The only question is, do you believe in yourself enough to try? And speaking of trying, before we go, I have to tease day 2 because, oh my God, day 2 is going to be so practical and so immediately useful. We're giving you 50 daily use English sentences that Indians actually need, not textbook sentences, not the cat sat on the mat. Real sentences. Sentences for WhatsApp, for your office, for your college, for ordering chai at Starbucks. Wait, do people order chai at Starbucks? Someone tell me. But you get the point. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe right now. The bell icon too, because we release a new episode every single day for 30 days, and you don't want to miss a single one. Drop a comment below and tell us, what is your biggest challenge with English speaking right now? Is it the fear, the vocabulary, the grammar? Finding opportunities to practice? Tell us. We're reading every comment, and your answers help us make the next episodes even more useful for you. And if this episode helped you, share it. Send it to one friend, one family member, one person you know who is also on this journey. Sharing this podcast is the kindest thing you can do for someone who needs to find their English voice. Speak, make mistakes, learn, be brave, repeat.